men's ability under their religions to deny women their contraception. You see the difference there?
Yeah, clearly. And you know, this is gone to madness. And when I look at it right now, I think two things. Number one, I think the Republican Party is drifting towards Santorum, maybe because of all of this craziness. But I tend to think, and if you remember, Mark, I said from the very beginning, Mitt Romney's not going to be the nominee.
Yeah, you predicted Newt Gingrich just a couple weeks ago. You can't take that back.
Wait.
Our viewers remember that, Garland.
I also
pretty terrible prediction.
I also missed it. Remember, I said Herman Cain at one point.
Okay,
but you'll notice a consistency.
Yeah, but you were smoking something at the time.
I may have been wrong on one part. Cain, Gingrich, Smingridge, whoever, but consistently, I said Mitt Romney will not be the Republican nominee. He is a Mormon, and if worst case scenario, if he is the nominee,
I think he will.
Then they will split. Then the party will split, and they'll run some other third guy. There's no way that Southern base is voting for a Mormon. That ain't happening.
Well, no, I do think
like diversity.
Well, I do think Mitt Romney, Willard Mitt Romney, will be the nominee of the Republican Party. I agree with you that the South won't like voting for him, and I also think that President Obama is going to be reelected. But
it's looking pretty good right now.
But I got to tell you, what's fascinating to me is that the alternative is Rick Santorum. Rick, I want to control your sex life, Santorum. So it's amazing to me that America that values their freedom so much that they don't want to let their child be inoculated against a cancer that can kill them and is likely to kill them. That same party wants to say, but our sex lives, we give over to the government. We don't trust the government with our health care. We don't trust the government with our taxes. But our sex lives, who we marry, what we do in the bedroom, that will let the government control.
Let me ask you a question, Mark, about that whole, the issue. This is something I feel. Okay, the issue with the women getting inoculated so they won't get the papillomavirus or whatever. Okay.
Right.
Don't you think that if, like, all of the leaders of the Republican Party, the Rush Limbaughs and the Santorum and all these other people have said, we're for it, and the Democrats have said, well, we're not so sure, that all of these people that were against it would have been 100% for it. Because what's pathetic is, look, these are people that when Barack Obama recommended a tax cut, they were against it.
That's true.
It's clear.
Maybe they're sheeple.
Right. It has nothing to do with it. This is not about, in any way, shape, or form, about the substance of the issue. This is about who is putting forth the issue, not much else.
You're partly right, Garland. I certainly agree.
Only partly right?
Only partly right. I'll tell you why in a second.
Wholly right?
I'll tell you why in a second. Okay. Hold your horses. So, you're absolutely right. Cap and trade, Republican idea. Obama proclaims that they hate it. Affordable Health Care Act, Mitt Romney did it in Massachusetts, Obama proclaims that they hate it. Cutting taxes, Republicans used to think that would be the ultimate Republican wet dream, and then President Obama proposed it. They don't like it. But when it comes to sex, Republicans are uniformly against it, and they have been since the 1960s. The reason why fundamentalists don't want girls to be inoculated against HPV is because they think if they can scare their children into saying, little girl, if you have sex, you're going to die, then she's not going to have sex. And just to make that possibility real, they're not going to inoculate their daughter, because that way their daughter may really die if she has sex. Right. And that way, as their own child is dying, they can say, tut, 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 you should have listened to me, now you're going to die. So there are really conservatives who believe that the best way to keep little girls from having sex is to keep this threat of death available. The idea that they would actually sacrifice their own child rather than have a teenager having sex is astounding to some of us. But this is the same party that, let's face it, if you go to television, right? We watch on TV, what, 12,000 murders in a lifetime, but show one woman's breast and there's a huge fine. Because Republicans believe that murder and violence is natural, but a woman's breast is not. You understand?
It makes perfectly good sense to me.
Right. Because let's face it, violence is good, sex is evil. That is the Republican mantra. Don't have sex, kill someone, be a Republican.
It's really weird, and you made a great point, and that is that the Republicans were screaming, jobs and the economy is an issue. We really have to talk about the economy. We got to get this situation straight. Barack Obama, it's all his fault. although the economy. And what killed me was about the question. They would always raise this question: are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Yes, we're better off than we are 4 years ago. We were losing 800,000 jobs in 1 month, and now we just gained 240,000 jobs. Now, so what happened was this: they asked that question: are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And then the jobs count came out. We got 240,000 jobs last month. Oh boy, we better stop asking that question.
Now let's talk about sex.
So let's talk about social issues. And then something else happened too. And when they started, when Santorum started talking about social issues, when they started going, they noticed that they were exciting their base.
Oh yeah.
It's like a person who's talking to an audience, and they say this, the audience is in, and then they find
like showing red meat to a dog.
They find
they
one thing they say.
Sex. Oh, stop women from having sex.
I've heard comedians that I knew said, you know, that I've known that said, you know, I've been telling jokes to an audience, and I go down this alley and that alley, and then I would tell a certain type of joke, and they'd laugh, and I'd say, well, that hits that audience, and I keep telling jokes about that, and they'd love it. And I think what's happened is they felt their way around. And I tell you when I think Rick Santorum made his move. When he made his move was in Iowa. And think about this. He was down at like 1%.
Yeah, no one listened
to him. And they were talking jobs economy, and Rick Santorum said, well, I'm not going to give black people other people's money so they can live happy.
Oh yeah, race card. They like that card
when
too.
He made that, he jumped up like 40 points, and I think that's when he said, that's where it is. The race, the sex, the social issues, the things that can play into fear and anger. My God, I forgot about fear and anger.
That's right, get beyond thought. And then Newt Gingrich, of course, tried to race bait him with Barack Obama, the food stamp president. But, you know, Santorum
he ended up with a move.
Had already won the race baiting vote. And, then, you know, there's only so many races to go around.
And let's face it, Newt ended up on the move. And, you know, sooner or later...
he ended up on the moon. I think if he hadn't ended up on the moon, he would have had
sooner or later, he always ends up on the moon.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, those of you who haven't been watching Newt Gingrich because you prefer your sanity...
You're right, yeah.
Newt Gingrich had talked about a manned base with like 10,000 people.
Yeah, a colony.
A colony on the moon. Get those natural resources.
Well,
maybe there's oil on the moon. I don't know.
I can picture it, you know. Battlestar Galactica and all that. I love that stuff. But I just don't think we can afford it right now. The good news is that we got a colony on the moon. The bad news is 45,000 people died last year because they didn't have health insurance. You know, let's go with the health insurance.
No, the moon should be our...
We can send them to the moon.
The people without health insurance.
There we go.
There you go.
Because they can't spread their little diseases.
That way they won't get too much oxygen.
Yeah.
And
whatever they had, they won't spread their
Newt Gingrich. It's a big idea. I think he'll follow up with it.
You never know.
I want to talk, though, about President Obama's plan that got so much news. Because some people are saying it was the best political movie ever made. I actually think it was entirely an accident. But for those of you who don't know, in order to implement the Affordable Health Care Act, the act that the Republicans derisively call Obamacare, as if a president who cares is a bad idea, I guess. But in order to implement the plan, they had to decide what's covered and what's not, right? So if you have cancer, it's covered. If you have a heart attack, it's covered. If you have a procedure for Botox, that's not covered.
Right, yeah.
Right? Okay. So should contraception be covered? Well, it turns out that the vast majority of sexually active American women use contraception.
99%.
It's about that high. It's about that high. For Catholics, it's as low as 98%.
Yeah, oh my
so
God.
It's a huge
There's a gulf. There's a chasm between.
There's a double in the number of Catholic women versus other American women who don't use contraception. So it's a pretty regular health thing. And here's what's so fascinating about contraception. Insurance companies want to cover it for free.
Right, it's cheaper than pregnant women.
That's exactly right. There are very few things insurance companies want to cover. We all know they charge us out the wazoo. They want to cover birth control because pregnancy is covered. And I don't hear religious groups arguing that it shouldn't be covered. Pregnancy is covered, and insurance companies know, and frankly every parent knows, that guess what? a pill is a lot cheaper than a child.
Yeah, right.
It just is. You can't deny that point. So insurance companies wanted to provide it for free, and given that so many women use it, and it's actually a very important thing, and for some women it's kind of necessary, Kathleen Sebelius, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, said that all women under the Affordable Health Care Act would get free contraception.
Yeah. It would have to be offered. Then it would be
right, they don't have to take it. Right. I mean, right.
But their employer must offer it.
Right. So then the question was, who would be exempt from this? And in order to respect religious institutions, Barack Obama said churches, synagogues, mosques, any religious place of worship would not, if they didn't want to, because a lot of synagogues will do it, but if they didn't want to, they wouldn't have to provide this part of it to, not just to the priests, the nuns,
but to their workers.
To the janitors.
There, yeah.
The janitors. Exactly. You know, the guy that cleans the floor may not be Catholic, or the woman who cleans the floor, but she won't get the contraception. Okay. So then the next question came. What about Catholic-related institutions, specifically universities, hospitals, charities? Look at a place like Georgetown University. Now, Georgetown is a Jesuit, it's a Catholic university. It has a majority of non-Catholic students,
You're right.
a majority of non-Catholic professors, and a majority of things they teach are not theology. In fact, there's very little theology.
Right.
Georgetown, they teach science, they teach math, English, literature. It's a world-class university.
Science, my gosh, the Republicans.
They actually teach
I'm
science.
surprised the Republicans aren't protesting that place, right? Science?
President Clinton went to Georgetown. So here's the idea. The idea is because the Catholic Church has founded Georgetown, that therefore they can take the professors, the students, the janitors, I guess the people who work at the food stores in Georgetown University, and all of them, again, not Catholics, and say, guess what, women? Now that you work for us, we control your body parts. They belong to us. And it's not just universities, it's also hospitals. There's a lot of Catholic hospitals out there, and the vast majority of them have non-Catholics.
Well, you know what the other thing about it is?
These Catholics want them. It's not just non-Catholics.
98% of them are going to take it.
Want birth control.
And, you know what kills me? All they're saying, if you run a hospital or university or whatever, that it must be offered.
Right.
They're not saying you've got to grab the women,
that's right,
hold them down, hold their noses till they can't breathe, and then shove these pills down their
throat. They're not passing condoms in the pews.
No.
You put your money in the plate,
right,
you get out a condom. No, that happens in the gay bars. It doesn't happen in the Catholic churches. The government isn't controlling that. So the Republicans are all up in arms, saying this is an attack on religious freedom. If the Catholic Church wants to force non-Catholic janitors who clean up the food store located on Georgetown University's property, if they want to force that woman to have a baby, then gosh darn it, the Catholic Church can do that.
Right. It's really absurd. But again, we're getting back to, the politics of message, not the politics of reason. That's what this is all about. You know what I mean? It's all about the politics of message. It's almost like, I'm a firm believer that tax cuts aren't even real. Tax cuts are all about a message. It's all about saying to their people, you don't have to share anything of yours with anyone, the radical individualism. And then they say tax cuts, and that's symbolic. A lot of the things that they talk about, they are real in a sense that they really make something happen. But in addition to that, they are very symbolic of what they're standing for. And part of it is they're evil. Barack Obama is an evil, ungodly Muslim person. And we over here...
a radical Christian preacher.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And he's an atheist socialist, too. Don't forget that.
I forgot that.
And he's Kenyan.
Yeah. Well, and so he's all these things. And what I want to do is talk about things that separates him from us, so I can demonstrate that he's different from us in so many ways, some that I can't necessarily come out and say.
Here's what I find so extraordinary, though. It goes against the Republican rhetoric. If you listen to the Republican rhetoric, it's a libertarian rhetoric. It's Ron Paul. It's get the government out of our lives. Get the government so small you can drown in the bathtub, Grover Norquist said. Ronald Reagan said, the worst 9 words, or the scariest 9 words in the English language are, I'm the government and I'm here to help you. But when it comes to our most private things, who we marry, who we have sex with, whether or not we decide to have a baby, what we do with our own bodies, when it comes to these very private matters, they want the government to have complete control. They don't want the government to provide you affordable health care because you should have the right to pay through the nose for your cancer. You should have the absolute right, if you want to pay $1 million to get your cancer healed, you should have that right. You should not be able to have the government save you money on insurance. But you should not have the right to choose what you do with your body parts. Well, you should not have the right to choose who you marry.
Well, I don't think it's rhetoric. I think it's propaganda, and I think there's a difference.
But how does anyone buy that?
Because when you have
there are very few women, Catholic or otherwise, that don't use contraception.
I didn't say it was smart propaganda. I said it was propaganda. Because remember, if you're using propaganda, it doesn't matter if you say something something one day, and you say something that goes against it the next day, and something that goes back to it the next day, because propaganda is only it's only designed to deliver a message. It's a means to an end. So propaganda are words designed to do something. It doesn't matter what they say. So it doesn't matter if the propaganda contradicts itself from day to day, because the method it's a method. It's not real communication.
I'll tell you this, I hope the Republicans keep it up all the way to election day, because then President Obama will win in a landslide. Folks, we are the Raucous Caucus, Sans Terry tonight, Garland, Nixon, and I. 89.3 FM, we're here every Tuesday, and right now we're at Ben's Next Door. You can come and join us. We've still got a half an hour left of the show. We'd love to see your pretty faces. 1211
And even if you're not pretty, we'd like to see you anyway.
Well, Garland wants to see you if you're not pretty. I would... No, it's okay. Whoever you are, we would like to see you. Come on down to Ben's Next Door. The Raucous Caucus will be right back after this.
Nice job, guys. We got
Different flow without Terry. We were more...
Yeah, we need somebody to be wrong.
Let's say that on the air.
We need somebody to be wrong about everything. We need a foil here.
Save that.
We need a straight
Save it for the air, Garland.
So we got about a little less than 3 minutes. 5 to 2.5.
They started us at 8.
What are some of the other things?
I want to talk about Metropolitan Maryland and the connection with the church and race and all that. I want to talk more about the procedure because we only dealt with it a little bit. If we have time, we can go into guns. That's sort of a separate issue. But mostly church and state, I don't know, faith-based initiative, any kind of religious.
And what the two of us, our predictions, what do we think that's going to do? How do we think that's going to affect the Republican Party over in the long run for this thing?
So we'll bring fellowship to us. And predictions to see about senatorial. Any other sex-related politics?
We got about 2 minutes.
Well, you know, it's sex and religion. We can talk about the Mormon church.